in 2022, the BET Awards gave Combs his Lifetime Achievement Award. It seems almost overdue at this point when you think of this empire he has created. As Combs is standing on the stage accepting this award, he would say something that would change the trajectory of his life. He goes to this quiet moment and he gets really kind of somber, and he's like, you know, I had gone through these dark patches, these rough patches, low points.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place for a few years, you know what I'm saying?
And he specifically shouts out Cassie.
He said into Cassie, thanks for holding me down in dark times.
Also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
And when he did that, my first thing was, what?
It was this weird moment because Cassie and him had been broken up since 2018. She had 2 children. And so it was just kind of this weird pullback to their relationship when she was publicly moved on.
I remember there was this whole thing in social media, and people were like, oh my God, he's still in love with Cassie. We had no idea that Cassie had spent a decade trying to escape the alleged horrendous abuse she had suffered under him.
That was Diddy saying, I don't care about what you got going on right now. You're still mine. I'm still gonna mark this territory.
That moment when he called her out on stage, that was like a form of abuse.
And we know now that that triggered her and spurned her into action.
I first met Cassie on a photo shoot. And when I saw Cass, I was like, wow, that girl is a superstar.
When Cassie first met Diddy, she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old.
I want everybody to know Cassie. Y'all know that.
Cassie would go on to be signed to Bad Boy.
She had like a top 10 hit called Me and You.
You've been waiting so long.
You're signed to Diddy's label. What was it like the first time you met him? Were you starstruck?
I was so nervous. But we sat down for about 2 hours, talked about my career and the future, and it was great.
Cassie's first album was called Cassie. It was a well-reviewed, solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. So I think we were all waiting on like, well, shoot, girl, let's get it popping. What's next? Where's the new album? What are we doing? Never to be seen.
When Cassie became part of Bad Boy, my impression was that for Puff, she was there strictly being an artist. But then you begin to understand and realize that he always had intentions of making Cassie, I wouldn't say his girlfriend at that particular time, but having a relationship with Cassie.
To get her away from her boyfriend at the time, Ryan Leslie, Cassie claims that Diddy created this whole guise to get her down to Miami.
Puff said, Barnes, we gotta go back to Miami. He said, I got Cassie coming. He looked at me and I looked at him, and he said, yeah, I'm gonna get her now.
He invents this event that she had to appear at with flyers, the whole works, to get her to Miami alone under the pretense that she had to work.
So instead of them just working in the studio, he started taking Cassie to the clubs with him. He started bringing her out in hopes of winning her over.
In the beginning, it was kind of like, you know, me and the rest of the staff were just kind of like, are they messing around? Like, they must be messing around. But we didn't see anything romantic per se, right? Until the Miami trip. And the only reason why this all had kind of stuck out in my mind is because I just remembered him cussing out one of the assistants for not having condoms on the yacht.
I remember lots of parties in Miami, and I remember lots of drugs. At that particular time, I seen a lot of ecstasy.
They're partying, you know? I'm not thinking that this is like a bad thing back then, you know? And I was in my 20s, so I'm like, you know, like, oh, she came up. She looked like she was having fun. I didn't see anything wrong with what was happening back then. You know, now that I'm in my 40s, I can see, you know, how it was a man in power that was taking advantage.
I began to see photos of them together, and I was like, wow, okay, here we go.
Their relationship became public, and as time went on, they became a status symbol, a power couple. Cassie was the loyal, devoted girlfriend. Diddy showboated her at the Met Gala, at different things. He posted her all the time. Cassie was a first lady to his president. Cassie says that Diddy quickly became ingrained in every aspect of her life. Her car rental was under his name. Her apartments were owned by him or rented by him. She said that he had her medical records sent directly to his email.
Any show that came up, any producers that wanted to work with her, any managers that wanted to work with her, you had to go through him in order to do that.
I mean, I thought Cassie would be someone that we would hear from more consistently. And I always wondered why, after the first album, we didn't really get anything else.
With Cassie, the way that he controlled her was by never giving her that career that she wanted, because she would hold on and keep reaching and keep trying to have that career that she wanted. Looking back, I have a lot of regrets on not speaking up. It was really difficult. It was like it graduated from one thing to another to another. When I knew that it was really a problem was one time when I just seen him beat Cassie up. We went to a big party on Sunset. And when I was waiting outside, I seen Cassie come out first, and then I seen Puff come out, and he was walking fast. And then all of a sudden, I just seen him out of nowhere just punch her. And then they started fighting there. I tried to, at first, say, yo, get inside the car. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? And then he said, no, no, no. And he started kicking her. And then she fell. She tripped over something trying to get away. And then that's when I jumped in, because it looked like he was about to kick her again. I grabbed her and I threw her in the car, and then I threw him inside the car. Puff turned around and they started fighting inside the car. She was fighting from the back, he was fighting from the front. And so I'm busy trying to drive, roll the window up, and stop them at the same time. We got to the house, and then she jumped out. And then they went inside the room. Next thing I knew, he came out and he said, yo, get this bitch out my house. And then he told me, he said, yo, take her over to the London hotel. She was crying, her hair was crazy. You could tell that she had been beat up because of some of the swellness on her face.
The day that I found out that he was abusing her, I went up to the bodyguard's room and I'm like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? And he's like, yo, Chef, like, that went crazy on Cass again. I thought he was gonna kill her. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yo, he was beating the shit out of her. I don't even know how much time went by, but Puff came screaming up the steps and was like, yo, Chef, like, what the you doing in my mother business? What happens in my mother house is my business. What happens in my mother relationship is my business. I don't know what the is your problem. Like, I'll end you. Like, I'll end you. Like, you better not tell nobody shit. He never once said, it never happened, I didn't do that. He wasn't remorseful in any way. Like, he was like just in a rage. I was really disgusted, but I'm also being quiet because I know that he probably really would beat me up. Like, I knew he was that mad. And so then he starts calling for the bodyguard to come downstairs. And he's like, why the you telling my mother business? Like, what the is wrong with you?
If you know Cassie, then you know that when something first happens, she doesn't want to talk to you about it. You know, whether she's embarrassed, whether she's ashamed. But when I did come the next day to deliver her some stuff, she opened up the door and she looked at me and she was like, Barnes, I can't do it no more. Whenever I talked to Cassie, I felt like it was a father-daughter type of thing. I said, are you all right? And then she unbuttoned her shirt and she showed me the wounds and she was like, no, I'm not all right. I said, do you want to come back? And she was like, no, I'm not coming back. It probably was a week later, I was told to go pick her up. And I told Diddy, I said, oh, she's coming back? He said, yeah, just go pick her up. But the way that he said she's coming back, once you know Diddy, you know to leave it at that. Like, not why she's coming back or not ask no other questions, just do as you told. Just go get her. You could tell her she didn't want to come back.
You know, my father beat my mother. So it was like, I didn't, you know, so I was just like, I kind of felt like, you know, in relationships, if people choose to stay, what am I to do? I can't, if you're not willing to go, I can't save you from that, you know? So I didn't really, I was very separate. I feel horrible now, you know, looking back on it. There's a lot of people that were complicit with keeping things quiet. People knew, and people kept quiet. Who would have thought that Cassie was gonna be the one?
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs facing a slew of allegations, including rape and sex trafficking, in a stunning new civil lawsuit filed by his longtime partner, singer Cassie.
New York created a look-back window for survivors of sexual assault. No matter when the incident or assault occurred, they could bring a civil suit against their abuser. That opened up the doors for Cassie. Cassie had tried to leave her relationship with Diddy because allegedly he was also subjecting her to extreme physical and sexual abuse.
Diddy and Cassie's relationship was a lot of people's goals. So when I heard about the Cassie lawsuit, I was maybe 6 pages in, and I literally stopped what I was doing and got prepared to go live.
Listen, let's get right into this. Puffy, listen, y'all see me, you see the hair. I woke up for this. Y'all, I think it's fair to say, if these accusations are true, Puffy is a monster.
I was like, this is a cultural moment, and not in a salacious way, but I really felt like everything you knew or thought, everything you assumed was completely not just wrong, but it was dark, disturbing, disgusting.
Cassie claims that Diddy would have these sexual encounters arranged for her with other men that he called freak-offs.
Diddy was accused of conducting freak-offs where Cassie, on his behalf, would secure escorts or other sex workers to come and engage in sexual acts with her.
She claims that Diddy would film these encounters, that he would masturbate while Cassie was forced to participate or engage in these activities, and sometimes Diddy would join in.
I've seen questionable things, but I never knew exactly what was going on. It's been times where Cassie and Diddy would just go to the hotel for a weekend. And I would see guys get off the elevator, and I would peek and I would see him knock on Puff's door. Puff's assistant always kept these little mini recorders with him in his bag. And I remember specifically him losing a tape one time, and Puff was going crazy. I mean, everybody was looking for his tape. I said, yo, what is on this tape? But I never knew that he was allegedly taping freak-offs. I thought it was between him and Cassie.
When I read the lawsuit, I teared up.
The sexual assault, the trafficking, the abuse, the drugging, you know, and this is supposed to be a significant other.
Cassie opened the floodgates for so many people to come forward.
Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with another lawsuit.
Music mogul Sean Combs facing a fourth accusation of sexual assault.
This lawsuit in the last month was filed against him today.
I think that people are coming out now because there is strength in numbers.
It's so hard for women to come forward and speak their truth about being sexually assaulted. They see how they're shunned, they see how they're shamed, they see how they're silenced.
And then this video clip drops. It is footage of Diddy from 2016 in a hotel with Cassie. And it is some of the hardest footage I think I've ever had to watch.
What really bothers me about that video is that she was barefoot. That's what really bothers me about that video. Think of how panicked you have to be to leave a place without putting your shoes on.
Cassie behaved as a person who had been beat many times before, who had been abused many times before. She realized there was nothing she could do. She just got in the fetal position and she just kind of waited for it to be over.
My God, like, who was I working for? He's not even just a monster. He's like I can't even describe what he is.
I was looking at it going, no, just no, just no, just no.
When you saw the way he dragged her back, the sheer brutality, and then 2 days later to know that Cassie had a movie premiere and they were laughing and giving smiles, it really just made you be scared for any woman that was in Diddy's orbit.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
The apology actually sent me into a rage.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
For him to have said that he was at rock bottom and it was the worst point in his life, he was a liar.
It's another performance. And it's a full-on lie. Like, come on, bro. Like, you sound, like, just shut the up. Don't talk anymore.
When I watched that video, I knew he was lying because I knew what I experienced in 2021, which was 5 years later. I wasn't sure if I wanted to speak my story and make it public. Over the last probably 11 months, I've decided to speak my truth and take my power back. My name is Kat Passion. I am an actress. I moved to Los Angeles in 2013. And that summer, I was at Soho House with a couple of friends. And I remember telling them, like, Puff Daddy's like walking over, like, but he locked eyes with me and just stormed over. And then he came and sat and talked to me and my friends and was really trying to get to know me. But I wasn't interested. Tried to give me his number, I didn't take it. Maybe because he's like 20 years older than me. That was the first time I met him. He started following me on Instagram 2016, 2017. He would message me all of 2018. And towards the end of the year, he started inviting me to some events. He had invited me to his birthday party, and I think that was his 49th birthday.
Make room, let him work, let him work, let him work.
It was a beautiful party, classy, great night, DJ, everybody danced all night. It was a really fun night. And then I think 10 days after his birthday, Kim had passed.
Model and longtime girlfriend of entertainer Sean Diddy Combs, Kim Porter was found dead in her Los Angeles home last Thursday. Authorities say she went into cardiac arrest while fighting flu-like symptoms. She was 47 years old.
I had a best friend that passed away on December 8th, and it was a coincidence because on that day, he'd hit me up asking to meet for a drink at the Bel Air Hotel. I felt sympathetic and empathetic towards him because he lost Kim. Something drew me into wanting to have the drink with him. I felt like I saw somewhat of a grieving, vulnerable person. He felt real, and I connected with him, but we were connecting through the pain. I'd heard a lot of things about him, not good things. And one of the first few times we hung out, he'd asked me, "What are the streets saying about me?" And I said, "You really want to know? I hear that you're abusive, you're violent, you're connected to a lot of dark things." And he just looked at me and was like, "That's what they're saying?" And totally played it off, totally played it. He was trying to reel me in and get me comfortable and show me that he's a good guy. We spent so much time together, and we were really close and inseparable. Well, I have my old phone from that era. It was very positive in the beginning, very sweet. I think this was the time I was transitioning from being a brunette to a blonde. He was very supportive of the new curation of the look. This is a voice note.
I ain't gonna lie to you, my you really got your look popping. You made your vision come true. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. Love, I hope you had a beautiful day.
I'd seen his career at one point to be a blueprint. And so when we became friends, I made sure to let him know that I want to be part of your meetings. I want to see how it goes down when you're doing your Ciroc meetings, when you're doing your music meetings. I just wanted to be a fly on the wall to like absorb and be a student. And it was like, I see this girl, you know, she has potential and she's dope. And obviously we had this friendship and this budding relationship. It just felt like it was meant to happen. It was the honeymoon phase, though. Now that I look back on it, it's strikingly similar to how Cassie and Puff's relationship started. So he, at first, was he would say certain things like, I'm trying to do things differently this time. Which at the time, I didn't understand what he meant, what was different from now than before. And then it started to filter out. As I started to see this other side of him as the months progressed, different side that I didn't like. One time earlier on, he had said something, and I had said something back to him, because I got a quick mouth too. And he turned around and he put his hand up on my neck, but he wasn't like touching my neck yet. It was just kind of hovering. And we were looking at each other in the eye, and I was like, don't you dare. Like, you wouldn't, because I'll call the police, I'll do whatever. And then he just started laughing. And he kind of played it off like it was a joke, and he was just kidding, and we were back to having fun. And yeah, it's those moments where he has this, he's got this like side to him. It's slippery.
Yeah, but you had to, I told you to go home. You had an after party, so stay there. Hey, you could have went to another room. All that, you gonna call me back, talking weird, acting funny. Ain't nobody got no time for that shit.
He sounds drunk. It just makes me think. Controlling and just an ass. I remember one time, it was the beginning of 2019, and we were in the Bahamas on a yacht, and the R. Kelly documentary had come out. He came into the room to watch a little bit. He's walking out of the room and he says, there's a little bit of R. Kelly in all of us, and then walks out the door. And I remember being like, what? There is not a little bit of R. Kelly in all of us, but I wasn't absorbing really the severity of that statement until later. It was my birthday, April of 2019, and we went to New York. And at this point, he was just being more disrespectful. And I was calling him out on that. And I remember being in the restroom, and I said, I'm done. And he looked at me and he said, there's something called AD and BC, after death, before Christ, referring to himself. And you don't want to know what it's like, AD. He was insinuating, you don't want to end up like my ex, Cassie, AD. That was his way of kind of like threatening me in a way, like, you're better off with me, like, you're gonna end up like her? Our relationship wasn't what it was before. I went back to Canada, then COVID hit, so I ended up being in Canada for like a year and a half, and I didn't see him. But in 2021, he was starting to record his Love album, kind of collecting all the collaborators, and he valued my opinion, and so he wanted me around. At that point, it was more of like a friendship. We went from the house in Bel Air to the Malibu home, and it was great. We were in the studio all night, vibing. We had a day pool party.
Just like the vibration right here. I don't know what everybody's talking about, what everybody's doing, what I'm saying is so perfect.
He had some friends over. It was a good energy. It wasn't until the last night when he went dark. He was on a drug that he had never done around me, which was this pink substance that he was snorting. I think it's called Tusi. He's in the bathroom for hours and I'm sleeping, and he comes out of the bathroom and wakes me up. telling me I can't go to sleep. He's expecting X, Y, and Z from me. And he forces himself. I don't want to go too much into it because I'm not trying to relive that memory, but it was just scary, to be honest. Yeah, because his whole tone, everything changed. I just don't want to go into, like, detail of it. It wasn't consensual. And he... I don't know, just the person who came out of that bathroom and woke me up was someone that I didn't even recognize him. And I knew I was never gonna see him again. And I never wanted to remember or repeat what happened. And I just, was numb, and I suppressed it. You feel so small and insignificant because this person has so much power and resources and all these people. It's just very intimidating, but also at the same time, it's I feel like I should have known better. Why was I in that situation? That's a shame, though, because I'm smart, but yeah, it's been a lot that I've had to deal with. Two weeks later, his assistant called me and she said, Mr. Combs is on the phone. He would like to talk to you. So he gets on the phone and he starts to threaten me and my livelihood. I can call the embassy and get you deported back to Canada. You don't know who you're with. You don't know what I can do to you. And he's yelling at me. He is full throttle pissed off. I can't even get in a word. I think towards the end of the conversation, which was under a few minutes, I said, "You're a demon." And he hung up. This man is sick. He uses his resources and uses what he can do for you and thinks that that can Band-Aid and solve the horrible things he does to people. Because he thinks he's God. He thinks, how would she not want to come out to Italy and be in a yacht on the Amalfi Coast with me? He's so far gone. So, I mean, karma's a bitch. And where's he sitting today? Not on a yacht on the Amalfi Coast, I'll tell you that.
Sean Diddy Combs behind bars, facing a slew of allegations.
Diddy has gotten away with so many things decade after decade. And so today is a day that a lot of my sources kind of hoped but feared would never happen.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
What the indictment essentially says is that Combs Enterprises was a criminal organization being run by Diddy. It means using your employees, for example, to facilitate crimes, to get you drugs, to get you sex workers, to bribe people, to threaten people, to get you guns.
When this indictment is unveiled, is starkly similar to the same accusations Cassie laid out in her lawsuit. There's a mention of freak-offs. There is a mention of physical violence. Her lawsuit served as a roadmap for this indictment.
The level of detail was intense.
They seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and it became a little bit of a meme or a joke on social media. But prosecutors were trying to demonstrate that these freak-offs were very organized events.
He and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims.
He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion, there's no crime. Eventually, he's going to be shown to be innocent, and we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore.
A judge orders Sean Diddy Combs held without bail.
Diddy was denied bail because the government said, this man is a danger to the community. They said, he's already demonstrated that he's willing to tamper with witnesses, harassing them and calling them dozens and dozens of times, or bribing them or threatening them. So we can't let him out on bail because it's going to interfere with the integrity of the case.
I think this is the first time that we've seen someone of this prominence in the music community have such a high fall from grace. To use that to peak of his career, that he is a businessman, he is a father, he's a pillar of the community music industry and also the Black community, and to see him picked up and kind of right away, it's really kind of a unprecedented moment.
The Southern District of New York is known as one of the most aggressive prosecutorial offices in the country. They want the elephant. I think it's very possible that Diddy has seen his last day as a free man.
When something notorious or salacious happens to a career, there can be this mood that you can't celebrate the good days of it too. That can happen. There was a lot of good days. There's a lot of brilliant people that made it all happen.
He made hip hop seem so vital and lively to American culture that everyone wanted to be a piece of it.
I used to beam with pride because I know I was there in those formative years to help lay the foundation.
To me, it's all about power. The industry in a whole can't keep turning a blind eye to these situations.
It's a lot of people like Puffy in this music business. Exposing Puffy means exposing them.
We are taught no snitching. We're taught to suppress violence and abuse. And so that gives abusers space to thrive. And I'm not afraid anymore. Scream it from the mountaintops. These people do not have the power that you think that they do.
I was questioning my faith, apologizing for things that I dreamed about. Like, why did I put this on myself? And I haven't been able to express that without the world victim blaming and shaming me and telling me I just need to be grateful because he gave me an opportunity.
I have 9 bullet fragments that remain in my face and my head. He took my peace of mind. He took my sense of safety.
Being able to speak about it is like liberation to a certain extent. But if I could just block everything out, even till today, I would want that. That'll be best for me. So I don't have the trauma anymore.
Combs faces a minimum of 15 years behind bars, up to life in prison if convicted on these 3 felony counts.
I love the music that came out of Bad Boy Records. if the accusations and the complaints are true, it wasn't worth it. You can't listen to it, at least I cannot, listen to it with the same joy. I don't trust accountability in this male culture. Cases are being overturned. Almost to say, you thought we believed you? You thought that accountability was gonna happen, right? We just let you have that for like a little while, but we just gonna snatch it right back. So you say, is somebody gonna be held accountable? I'm like, I don't know. And then I say, and even if they are, what happened